Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. We're up to section number 2 for business planning for 2023. Again, this is a 4-step process we're going to deal with once a week as we go through this month. The second step of the process is really making a determination of what we want for 2023. The destination, the target, if you will, is what this plan needs to be focused on. Last week, we spoke about where we were, what was going on, what we had, what we were accomplishing, what our rate of business was, where our opportunities were coming from, all of those wonderful things that we talked about last week. Well, that's the starting point. This is the destination. Where are we going? What do we want 2023 to look like? And it's really pretty simple. We have to sit down again with the pen and paper or on your computer and open up a file or however you process information best and say, look, what is success to me? If 2023 concludes, what will it have been? What would it look like? What would I have had to have done? What would I have needed to accomplish? And you have to bear in mind that success is not the same for everybody. Different people have different ideas on what success is. You have choices to make. You have to determine, is it focused on a dollar volume? Is it focused on an income level? Is it about a number of units? Is it about working so many hours or accomplishing so many things or transitioning your business from one place to another or growing different sources of opportunities or improving conversions? All of these different things are out there that we have to look at. And just like we did in part 1, we're going to go down through a series of questions that you should be answering for yourself so that you can start to develop the picture of what the destination looks like. So here's what we need to do is we have to ask ourselves some question about what our destination is. And here's the questions that I put forth to my people about what their destination should look like and the questions that we go over to put that picture together. So first and foremost in people's minds are numbers. What do the numbers look like? Is it dollar volume? Is it a total number of deals? In either case, what are the numbers? And it could be also income targets or types of business. All of those things are important. The way we get to those numbers, the result of those numbers, or how we may change those numbers can go into what was my conversion rate. In other words, from opportunity generation to closing of the loan, is this something I'm happy with? Am I closing 20, 30, 40, 50% of my opportunities? Am I closing 5 or 10% of my opportunities? Am I even tracking what is an opportunity? Am I tracking the numbers through the process so that I know what the math is? And if not, isn't that something that maybe I should consider doing from this point forward so that I can track these numbers and have reliable information? The next question that you have to ask yourself are, where are these opportunities coming from? And again, if you aren't tracking it, then you're just kind of guessing, and you'd be amazed at how wrong most loan officers are if they do it without really looking and just write down, well, I get this number of opportunities from here or that number of opportunities from there. Or you ask something simple that you can document. Even if you haven't been tracking it, you can write down every one of your referral partners or every place that you think you're getting referrals from, and write down the number of credit reports that you've pulled from that area. And then turn around and total up those credit reports, and then go back and see how many credit report pulls you paid for. And see if your numbers are even close, because most loan officers don't even realize how many times they pull credit compared to how many pre-approvals they do or applications they take or loans that they close. But again, these are things that you're supposed to be tracking. And if you aren't, you can start that today. Because if you're not actually tracking the numbers, if you're not actually doing the math, then you're just guessing. And that's probably not the way you want to live your life or run your business. Again, we're looking at where the business comes from. Who are sending us what type of business? Not all referrals are the same. I've had people send me business and I'd close 1 out of every 5 or 10 of those people. I've had other people who sent me business and I'd refer every one of them. I mean, I'd close every one of them. And it becomes important that you know these things, not that you expect to have a 100% closure rate on everybody, but there are some people or there are some places where you're getting business that you have to look at and say, gee, I'm only closing 5 or 10% of that business. Is that acceptable? It may very well be. If those inquiries or those touches are coming from social media or someplace that you're not paying for, and they're not taking you an awful lot of time to deal with, then closing 5 or 10% of those opportunities may not be the end of the world, especially given the loan size or the profitability of the loan. But if you're dealing with a referral source that's sending you a lot of opportunities, most of which don't turn into anything, and they're very labor and cost intensive, like you're spending a lot of time with them, you're pulling credit, you're doing all these other things that are costing you time and money, and you're getting very few conversions, you might be better off eliminating that source and spending all of that time generating a new source that has a higher, more productive and profitable closure rate. And that goes back to is what are your pull-through rates on certain types of business that you're looking at? Again, it's not all the same. We know first-time home buyers are not the same as the trade-up buyer, who's not the same as the top-end buyer. These things take different amounts of time and resources to generate. And again, there's a maybe no difference between doing a $200,000 loan and a $1 million loan, but there may be all the difference in the world how you go about getting in front of it and how many of those you come across. The next piece, Bon, is looking at the referral partners that are sending me this business and understanding my time commitment to these referral partners. What is it costing me in time to maintain those relationships? And again, I have some loan officers out there who spend a lot of time with certain referral sources, but it's completely disproportionate to the amount of business that they get back. You can't be spending 80% of your time managing a relationship that sends you 20% of your business. It is something that at least you have to pay attention to make a determination, is that trade-off worth it? The next question is, what is the balance of my business? Am I using the referral triangle to understand my conversion rates and how they apply? Am I leveraging every opportunity through the other sides of the referral triangle? Am I maintaining that relationship through the presentation of value on an ongoing basis? Because if I can't do the loan today, is it something I can do tomorrow? And when I do this, and I look at the balance of my referral triangle as to where my business is coming from, is it something that the results were surprising to you, and was it a good surprise or was it a bad surprise? Surprises can be both. You may be, wow, I thought I got a lot more business from that source than I did, or wow, I closed a lot more loans from that area than I thought I did. It's really important. In addition to that, and the reason we do business planning in October is to understand that there may be tools or systems or processes or things that you want to master in order to better prepare for 2023, or things that you want to incorporate in your business during the business year of 2023, and mastering those tools or those skills or those processes or procedures or whatever it is may take some time. But you've got to start out with, okay, if it's like reading a book, you don't always sit down and read the entire book in one sitting. You may read a couple of pages, you may read a couple of chapters, you may have more time the other, eventually you get through the book. So what are the accomplishments that you want to reach out for and obtain in 2023, and what things do you need to do to prepare yourself so that come January 2nd, you can hit the ground running? Another key piece is my social media outlets. Am I working my social media outlets? Am I consistent with presenting value through social media? Do I have ways that people can find me? Am I sharing with them? And again, it's not always about mortgage or real estate related content. In fact, I tell people I want more than half of the things that you publish to be involved about something that has absolutely nothing to do with mortgage or real estate. Again, providing value to your clients with maybe video coupons once a month, or sharing certain local events or charitable functions, or things that you're involved with that have, or that you're committed to in your area that have absolutely nothing to do with mortgage or real estate. People generally only need a mortgage or a real estate person a couple or a few times a decade. So if you're constantly sending them nothing but mortgage or real estate information when they're not in a position or a need, they're just going to block or ignore whatever it is that you're sending them. But if you're sending them something of value, something of interest that has nothing to do with mortgage or real estate, it'll preserve the impression in their brain of you, but giving them something significant so that they'll keep opening or looking at whatever it is that you're sharing. The last pieces in here is knowing that what are the systems and associations that have really worked for me well, and that I thought I would expand upon, or I think might work well, and I want to get on the radar to really doing in 2023. Many of us have plans to do things, and it rolls over year after year after year. Well, what will you commit to having, getting that done? And again, the final question just leads me right into, you've got to determine what's going to make you happy for 2023. If you could picture what 2023 was, if 2023 was ending, if you were looking at it now and somehow in the future, and you could look at your final results for 2023, not only your numbers, and your income or whatever, but also your accomplishments, things you did, vacations you took. And again, I push, 4 vacations a year, 3 shorts and a long. It's really important that we work those in. We'll talk more about that in the next phase, which is scheduling, because a quote resonates with me. If you're going to do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. And if you're not happy with what you're getting, stop doing what you're doing. The only way your circumstances, the only way your situation's ever going to change is if you make change. But you also have to understand that the things that work for you right now may not work for you tomorrow. We've seen evolution. All those people who were buying leads lists and Zillow leads and all that stuff and pounding refis and thought that that was going to be the way that worked for them in 2021, it was going to work in 2022. Well, right up until it didn't, because things that work at 2.5% and 3.5% don't work at 6.5% and 7.5%, and God knows where we may go higher to. So you have to be paying attention to what's going on. As always, if you need any help, it's Mike at imtcoaching.com. Have a great week.